Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this cute little zombie character. He is what I consider a no-sew body pattern, which means we are going to start by making his little arms, and then we're going to do his legs. We'll join them, work our way up, then we will attach the arms, start on the head, we'll add the eyes, stuff him, and close. And there is a little bit of work when we get to the head. We'll have to make his little teeth and his ears and attach them. And we're going to make a little lip to go across. And if you don't want to do the mouth like this and you just want to have like a regular face, you can also do that. You'll just skip the parts on these two rows, and I will explain them when we get there. And then, of course, if you choose to do any embroidering and adding the little hairs, and then we'll do the little vest at the very end. For this video, I am going to be using a number 4 medium weight yarn, a 4.25 millimeter hook, and 18 millimeter safety eyes with the clear back. And then I just took a fine tipped red felt pen, added little squiggly lines, and then painted the very back with white nail polish. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing every stitch with you. And I am also providing a drop down at the top of the screen with the pattern instructions for the first 30 seconds of every row for you to follow along with. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. And don't forget to check down in the description below the video. You'll have to click more twice probably, and there will be links down there if you want to share anything you've made with me on my Facebook craft page, as well as any colors and the yarn types and hooks and eye sizes. I think that's everything. So grab your yarn and let's get started. All right, we are going to begin with the arm, and you can start any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I am going to be making a knot with the loop on the end as if I was making a chain. I insert my hook, grab my yarn, pull up, chain 1, and remember that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over top of our tail, we are going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull on that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we are going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase, whoopsie, 3 and 4, increase, 5 and 6, increase, 7 and 8, increase, 9 and 10, and our last increase, 11 and 12. Row 3, we're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 4, 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 5, we are going to do what I call a double crochet cluster of 3 and then 11 single crochets all the way around. So for your double crochet cluster, you're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. That's one time. Again, yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. So that's twice. Yarn over in that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. That's 3 times. Now you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to go through all 4 loops on your hook. Give that a little pull if you need to, and now we're going to do 11 single crochets around, and I'm going to count our cluster as 1 and our first single crochet as 2. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 6, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and we're going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 8. So single crochet, oopsie, 1, decrease for 2, and repeat that around. 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, and our last decrease for 8. Row 7, we are going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 8, we're going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 9, 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 10, we're going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and on our 8th one we are going to change color to our t-shirt color. So we're going to insert our hook, grab our yarn and pull up, and we're not going to finish that one, and we are going to just put this down, leaving those 2 loops. We're going to cut our old color and you grab your t-shirt color. And now we're going to tie our new color onto our old color, nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can. And we're going to tie that 2 or 3 times. Then you're going to take that new color and you're going to pull it through those 2 loops of your last single crochet to finish off that row. For our next row, we're going to do what I call a single crochet drop stitch. So instead of going in our next stitch up here, we are going to drop down and we are going to go in the previous row stitch. So all our stitches are going to go in the same spot as our previous row. So for row 11, we're going to do 8 single crochet drop stitches. So down in that hole of our previous stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoops, I brought my stitch marker up there, and 8. So it should look like this. Now we're going to go back to regular single crochets. So for row 12, we are just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 13, we're just going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 14, we're going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Row 15, 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're just gonna add some stuffing now. Don't cut your yarn yet because we're gonna need that to close him up. So I'm gonna take my stitch marker out, grab your stuffing, and we're just gonna take a little small amount. You may need your scissors to make it a little easier. Get that down to the bottom. And what we want to do is we want to have a nice round little puff at the bottom. So kind of like a little ball shape in the hand. And you may need your scissors to kind of push that around. I'm going to put a little bit more in. And then grab another little small chunk, and this time you just want to lightly stuff the arm so it's kind of squishy. So what I try and do is get the little bit at the front, push it down, and kind of let the stuffing just kind of stay all the way through the arm. So our hand is quite firm, and then our arm is quite squishy. And then we're going to put our hook back in, and we are going to do 3 single crochets across. So starting in our next stitch and our last stitch on the other side. 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, front and back, 2 single crochets, and the last stitch, front and back, 3 single crochets. And then you can tie that off. Leave yourself a little bit of a tail, because even though we aren't sewing them on, I do something at the end to make them a little more secure. Now, if you are done your first arm, I will put a screenshot over in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second arm. And if you are done your second arm, just keep on watching and we will move on to the next part. I think I better throw the little mouthpiece in now before we start the legs. So that when we get done the legs, we can just zoom on up the body, and then we have it done when we get to the head. So you can start any way you prefer, as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing my knot with the loop on the end, like I was going to be making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember, that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop over top of the tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then pull that tail to close that hole if you need to. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. Oh, those colors look good together. And for row 2, you are going to do 6 increases, so that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So you're going to increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase, whoopsie, 9 and 10, and then your last increase 11, and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1 single crochet for 1, increase for 2 and 3, and repeat that around. 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and our last increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, and an increase, 3 and 4, and we'll repeat that all the way around. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. So 1, 2, 3, increase, 4 and 5. And then we'll repeat that around. 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and our last increase, 29 and 30. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch, tie that off, leave a bit of a tail, but I don't think we need it unless you want to, for some reason, kind of stitch down the bottom if you have a hard time stuffing around it, so it's a little more closed. But that will be for later. I'll just put this to the side for now, and then we will continue on to the next part. All right, now we're going to begin with the foot. So grab your skin color again, and you can begin any way you prefer as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. I'll be doing my knot with the loop on the end like I was going to be making a chain. Insert my hook, grab my yarn, chain 1. Remember, that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches our yarn to our loop. And for row 1, going over the tail, 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you need to close that hole, just give that tail a little pull. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, we're going to do 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, oops, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Row 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1 single crochet and 1 increase for 2 and 3, and repeat that around. 4, increase 5 and 6, 7, increase 8 and 9, 10, increase 11 and 12, 13, increase 14 and 15, 16, increase 17 and 18. Row 4, we're going to be going in the back loop. So if you've never done that before, normally we will go under both sides of that V. And for the back loops, we're going to go down in between the V's and out the back. So for row 4, in the back loops, we are going to do 18 single crochets all the way around. So down between the V's and out the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 5, we are just going to do 18 single crochets all the way around, and we're back to normal way of sticking our hook in now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Row 6, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 single crochet and a decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease for 10, 11, and our last decrease for 12. Row 7, we are going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 8, 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 9, 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and on our last stitch, we're going to leave those 2 loops on the hook because we're going to change to our pant color now. So grab that new color. We're going to cut the old one, and then we're going to tie that new color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it, 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to grab that new color and you're going to pull it through those last 2 loops to finish off that 12th stitch of the last row. I'm just going to try and tuck my things in there, make it a little easier. Now we're going to do that drop stitch again. So remember, instead of going in the next stitch, you're going to drop down and you're going to go in the same stitch of your previous row. And we're going to do 12 single crochet drop stitches all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Row 11, we're going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 12, we are going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Row 13, we are going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now make sure you read up across the top. I'm going to have some important info there. If you are just on your first leg, we are going to just slip stitch, and then we're going to tie that off, and we're going to cut our yarn, leaving ourselves a little bit of a tail so that we can sew the little hole that shows up in between the legs. And if you are on your second leg, you're going to stop right here and don't cut your yarn, because we're going to use this piece of yarn to join the two legs. So if you've just done your first leg, I will put a screenshot in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back and do your second leg. And then if you are done your second leg, just keep on watching and we will continue on to the next part. All right, now we're going to join the legs. So grab your first leg, and you want to go in right where you did your tie off and slip stitch. So right under there in that same stitch is where your first single crochet is going to go. So for row, let me find my right string here. For row 14, we are going to do 12 single crochets around the first leg, and then we're going to do 12 single crochets around the second leg. So starting in that stitch where you did your slip knot, 12 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now don't worry about what stitches you have left. We'll fix that by sewing, and I'm going to leave my string on the outside this time for anyone that ever forgets to sew the legs together there. We'll do it a different way on this one. So now going into your second leg, find your last stitch. So it's right here. And you're going to go into that next stitch and do 12 single crochets around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now you should have 24 stitches around. Now if you did something wrong, went in the wrong stitch, we're going to fix it in the next row, so don't worry about where you are right now. So let's get our stitch marker back in there. And for row 15, we're going to do 24 single crochets all the way around, and make sure you're starting in that next stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Now if you're back at your stitch marker and you don't have 24 stitches, just adjust here by increasing and decreasing. You shouldn't really be off more than 1 stitch, as long as you have 24 in this row. Row 16, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, and we're going to repeat that pattern all the way around for a total of 30. So 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5, and then just repeat that around. 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, and an increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, and an increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, and an increase, 24 and 25, 26, 27, 28, and an increase, 29 and 30. Row 17, we are going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 18, we are going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 19, we are going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Oops, and on that 30th stitch, don't finish that off because we are going to change our color here to our t-shirt color. So leave those 2 loops on the hook. We'll give that a cut and then grab your new color. All right, so let's tie that new color onto the old color nice and tight, as close to the hook as you can get it. And then you're just going to pull that new color through, finishing off that last stitch of the last row. All right, and we're going to do drop stitches for this next row again, but I'm going to do something a little different. If you can't do it, don't worry about it. Just do what we've been doing. But our first one, we're going to go cover that first row. And then our second one, we're going to go down 2 rows. So we'll have a short one and a long one. All right, so for row 20, we're going to do 30 drop stitches, 1 short, 1 long, and then repeat that around. So down into that first row, that's 1, and then we're going to go down into the second row. And try not to, try and keep them kind of loose. So it'll look like that. 1 row, 2 rows. Just make sure you have 30 all the way around. So that's 2. So a short one for 3. A long one for 4. Short for 5. Long for 6. And if you're having trouble deciding where the hole is, just remember you're skipping a hole when you get down to when you're on the bottom ones. So that was 6. Short for 7. Long for 8. Short for 9. Long for 10. Short for 11. Long, whoopsie, for 12. Short for 13. Long, 15. Short, 16. Whoopies. Long, I just lost count, I think 16. 17 for a short one. Long for 18. Short, 19. Long, 20. Short, 21. Long, 22. Short, 23. Long, 24. Short, 25. Long, 26. Short, 27. Oops, long, 28. Short, 29. And our last long one for 30. And then it should look like this. Short, long, short, long, short, long. For row 21, we are going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 22, 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 23, we are going to do 30 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Row 24, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease, for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 25, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 26, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 27, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Row 28, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. 1, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. All right, our next row is going to be our arms, so get those ready. So for row 29, we are going to start with 5 single crochets. We're going to do our arm, we're going to do 6 in the front, we're going to do our other arm, and then we're going to end with 1. And if you're left-handed, you may be doing this row backwards. To begin row 29, 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're going to grab your first arm and keep track of your back and your front. So where your stitch marker is your back, and your front, you want your strings and your thumbs facing the front, and we are going to do 3 single crochets through the arm and the next stitch of the body. So that's 1 through the arm and the next stitch of the body. That's 2 through the arm and the next stitch of the body. That's 3. Now we are going to do 6 single crochets across the front. Remember to get in the next stitch. It's very easy to go in the same one on this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you're going to grab your other arm. Again, make sure the strings and the thumb is facing the front. Remember, if you're left-handed, you might be doing this opposite. And then 3 single crochets through the arm and the next stitch of the body. So that's 1 through the arm and the next stitch of the body. That's 2 through the arm and the next stitch of the body. That's 3. And then you should have 1 single crochet left, and we're going to change color, so we're just going to insert, grab our yarn, pull up, and leave those 2 loops on the hook. So we're going to cut our shirt color, and we're going to grab our skin color, and we are going to tie those 2 together nice and tight, as close to that hook as you can get it. 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to grab that new color and pull it through to finish off that stitch of the last row. Alright, row 30, we are going to do 18 increases all the way around for a total of 36. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10. Oh, that's nice. Increase 11 and 12, increase 13 and 14, increase 15 and 16. And when you get to these strings, make sure they're on the outside, because that's where we'll want them for later. Increase 17 and 18, increase 19 and 20, increase 21 and 22, increase 23 and 24, increase 25 and 26, increase 27 and 28, increase 29 and 30, increase 31 and 32, increase 33 and 34, and our last increase 35 and 36. And we're getting quite far in here now. I'm not going to be stuffing mine until I'm almost done the head. So if you need to stuff as you go, you'll want to be putting stuffing in here. And I forgot to say it when I was here, so I'll put a little note in there too across the top as a reminder. Row 31, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 42. Make sure I'm in that right stitch there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an increase, 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that's where that knot was, and an increase, 13 and 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, increase, 20 and 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and an increase, 27 and 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, there's an increase, 34 and 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and an increase, 41 and 42. Row 32, we are going to do 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 33, we are going to do 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Okay, we're going to do the mouth row now, and just in case we are not all in the same spot, I'm just going to show you how to center your mouth, where you start the mouth. So first you want to find the center stitch up here. So I'm just going to use my arms and the first stitch and just go over, over, over. So my center is about right here. I'm going to come up and I'm going to pick one of these two stitches. Just kind of have a look if that's centered enough for you. I think it's good enough. Might be one more over, but we'll see. And then we're just going to count 7 stitches over. If you're left-handed, you may be going this way. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you want it to wherever you're starting. So I'm going this way around. So this will be the first stitch of my mouth. If for some reason you're going this way around, you want your stitch to be on this side. So I'm just going to mark that. And if I'm off, I'm actually going to go with my stitch count because I know that's where my center will be. Okay, so let's get our hook back in. And remember, if you're not doing a mouth like this, you're just going to do 42 single crochets around. Okay, so for row 34, we're going to start with 19 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now you should be right close to your stitch marker. If you're lined up to your arm, and your stitch marker is a few over, I would stop here at 19. Now you're going to take your mouth, decide what side you want showing. So I'm going to have the right side showing. If you want the wrong side, you'll have this side up. And we're just going to kind of hold them together, and we're going to be going through both sides. I'm going to be starting in where I tied off, so right in that tie off knot, right where I tied off, that's where I'll be starting on the mouth side. So now we're going to do 15 single crochets through the head and the mouth. So start through the head, find your tie off knot. I'm sorry, this is going to be hard to see. and we're going to do 15. So 1 into the head, into the next stitch of the mouth, and you want to be making sure you're going through both of the V's on each side. So that's 2, 3, and take your time. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and our last one, 15. Then we should have 8 single crochets left, so you're not going through the mouth anymore. That's for the top side now. So just the single layer of the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it should look like this right now. You just got that little piece in there. If you're not doing the mouth, the next row will be 42 single crochets. And for us, if you're doing the mouth, whatever your number was to start with, that's what your number will be again. So mine was 19, so we're going to start with 19 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now we are going to do 15 single crochets on the other side of the mouth. So starting again on the other side of that knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And I had one extra stitch, so I'm just going to go past it. I probably should have started one past the knot. Okay. Now we should have 8 single crochets left, and if you're not sure which one to go in, count backwards from your last stitch marker. So that would have been our 8th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to be going in the stitch right here where you counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there you got your little mouse started. Okay, next row, if you are not doing the mouth, you're just going to do 42 single crochets across. If you're doing the mouth, row 36, 19 single crochets across, or whatever number you started with in the last 2 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Now you're going to make a spot to put lips on afterwards. So you want these stitches free. Those will be your front loops. So you want to go on the back loops now, and you want to do 15 single crochets in the back loop. So remember, for back loop, you're going down between the V and out the back, and 15 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then now you should have 8 single crochets left, or whatever stitch amount you had on the last 2 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now is a good time to stop and stuff if you need to. I'm not going to yet, but it's probably really nice to get a little bit of stuffing underneath there before you go too far. Row 37, we are going to do 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 38, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 39, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 40, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Row 41, 42 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. All right, we're going to add the eyes and a little bit, you can add a little bit of stuffing. You'll probably want yours stuffed at least to the neck right now. I might still wait a little longer. So get your eyes ready and grab your pins. And we are going to kind of center our little guy, kind of flatten him out, And then we're going to count down from our top row. We're going to go down 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to stick our pin in a stitch right there if we can. If you think you're in the center, I think I'm pretty good right there. I'm going to replace that with a smaller pin. And I am in a stitch. I'm not in a hole. So if you see, I got a hole on each side of that pin. I'll grab my eye. And I'm going to count over 4 holes from my pin. So, can you see this even? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in that 4th hole, we're going to put that eye. Grab your other eye. You're going to count over 4 holes from where that pin is sticking in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then in that 4th hole, where you're going to stick your eye, just have a look, kind of check that it seems centered to you. If you're happy with that, we'll put the backs on. And if you're using smaller eyes, they should be able to go in the exact same spots. Now we're going to grab your stuffing. If you haven't stuffed at all yet, when you do the legs, you want to make sure you get way down inside and you push them out using the palm of your hand to kind of keep them flat. And I kind of push out to the sides to make them look a little bigger. That's the one bad part about waiting to stuff. You gotta get all the way down in there. If you do have a problem with your stuffing, use your scissors. It will help you a lot. And then as I do the legs, I want the legs to be quite firm so that he'll maybe stand up a little bit. But as you're going, try and transition each batch of stuffing so that you're not lumpy in the legs. Right here is where I started debating on if this was actually going to look like a zombie. You guys have seen the finished project, but I thought I was making a frog. And if you guys see a frog and you don't want to make a zombie, go ahead, try frog. Or as we get going, when we put the lip on, it really started looking like a little monster from the lagoon guy. So if you've been waiting for me to make something like that, you can pretty much do the same thing here. And you'll just finish it off a little differently. When you get to the tummy, that doesn't have to be quite as full. Depending on if you want him to have a little belly or little hips. You just kind of shape him how you want him. I just need a little bit more, I think. So I like to stop at the neck. This is a new thing I've been doing. And then if you have them stuffed to the neck, and then you do a different set of stuffing in the head, you don't pull these stitches as much, so you see the stuffing. So now I'm going to start with a new batch, and I'm going to go underneath his mouth here. So I'm coming down in here. We'll get that kind of shaped how we want it. And then we'll stuff in the back of the head to hold that kind of in place where we have it. I'm probably getting too far ahead of myself with the stuffing, because I won't be able to fit this in the camera soon. All right, so I'm not going to add any more stuffing because I'm almost at my limit here for height. You may be playing with this on and off for a little while as you go, but until you get right down to the very end of your stuffing and closing them up, you can kind of fix that. Or you can take your thread now if you want, and you could put a few stitches in there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so let's get our hook back in there. Yeah, this is going to be trickier than I thought here. Okay, let's try it. So now we're going to be doing decreased rows, and I think I'm going to be doing regular ones just because I struggle videoing them. On my original one, I did invisible decreases, so if you want to do invisible decreases from now on, go ahead and do them that way. It will look a lot better. All right, so for row 42, we are going to do 5 single crochets, 1 decrease. We're going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 36, and try not to catch your stuffing as you're going around. You know what, I'm taking that out. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, oops, I only caught one stitch there. I think that was 16, 17, and a decrease for 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and a decrease for 36. Row 43, we are going to do 4 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a decrease for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and a decrease for 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and a decrease for 30. Okay, row 44, we are going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 45, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. Here we go. Grab the stuffing on the first one. Okay. One, 2, and a decrease for 3, 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, 8, and a decrease for 9. Oh, hanging them over the table might be better here. 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. Sorry, this is so hard to watch, I'm sure. 13, 14, and a decrease for 15, 16, 17, and a decrease for 18. Alright, so we only have 2 rows left, so we're going to want to get the last bit of our stuffing in. So make sure you have him stuffed down under in the mouth a little bit, in the chin. And then you're going to stuff the top side. You want to kind of put your finger in that mouth, so you kind of shape that so it goes in. And then you're going to come down in the back, and you're just going to stuff this really firm so that when we do, I did try shaping the eyes a little bit. I don't know if you need to, but it'll be in here if you want it. And there's only 2 rows left, so you'll want to stuff as much as you can. I'm going to stuff as not quite to the top, and then I'll do the last little bit when off camera when I have, actually, you know what, no, I'll do one more, and then we'll finish it off. I might have too much in here, but we'll see. Just be careful when you're stuffing it that you're not splitting your stitches, because you don't want to see your stuffing underneath or through. Alright, so let's get our hook back in, and this is going to be torturous to watch, but if you've watched any of the other ones of mine, you know once I get here, I just can't get the proper angle. So you're probably used to this, and you're probably long since past me and finished. Alright, so for row 46, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease. We're going to repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 and a decrease for 2, 3, and a decrease for 4, 5, and a decrease for 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, and a decrease for 10, 11, and a decrease for 12. I definitely don't need more stuffing in there. Alright, and for row 47, we're just going to do 6 decreases, and if you're doing the invisible ones or using the plush yarn, you may not have to do all 6. Just as soon as your hole is closed enough, that's where you'll stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch. And we're going to tie that off and give it a cut, but leave yourself a bit of a tail for closing. And I'm just going to shape my head a little bit off camera and then be right back. So I actually couldn't decide if I overstuffed him or understuffed him. So I just scooched a little bit of stuffing up into the front, and it went in really easily. So I'm thinking that was a good choice, just to give him a bit more of a forehead. All right, so let's grab our darning needle. We'll thread that on. And you were just going to go in the top loops all the way around, back and forth. And then once you get all the way around, you're just going to pull that closed. Then we're going to tie a knot in the next stitch or loop beside. And then you're just going to go down in the center there somewhere and out the back. Give it a little bit of pull to bring that knot to the inside. And you'll be playing with this all the time, I'm sure, just like me. Once the teeth are on, it's a lot easier. All right, and now we're gonna do the arm string. So it doesn't matter which one, but thread one of your tails on. Then you're just going to go down in that hole where your last arm stitch was attached. So one of these two, just pick one. Just make sure you do them both on the same way on each arm. And you're going to come up through the neck in the center and pull it out. Then you're going to do the other one. So I went forward on this one. So right where your arm is attached, in that hole, and then you're going to come out the same place your other one came out. Now keep track of those. You're going to give them one tie. Then you're going to wrap them around the head, flip your little guy around, and now you're going to pull so that each of these knots come in and his arms kind of come a little bit forward. If you just watch. And you can decide how far up you want to bring them. It kind of brings the neck in a little bit too. So when you're happy with where they're sitting, remembering that they will relax a little bit, you're going to tie that again a couple of times to secure it. And then we'll thread them back on and put them out the back somewhere. So right in that same hole they came out, and then just somewhere out. If I'm using this, I usually try and put it out the same color that I'm using if I can. And give them a cut. Now we're going to deal with this string as if we forgot to sew it in when we were joining the legs. Usually I do it about 4 rows up from where I joined, or if I have a color change, I would have normally done it right here before I changed to white. This is actually almost an easier way to do it because you can see what you're doing. But you're just going to have to make sure. I did overstuff down here a little bit. And you're just going to go back and forth. I'm going side to side on this one. And I'm just grabbing, I'm not going in a hole because I don't want to stretch that hole. So I'm going in between a hole and then trying to come out, catching a little bit on the other side. I think I might do one more. just don't want to make another hole here, so I'm just being careful where I grab. And then just have a look. If you're happy with what it looks like, you're just going to grab a stitch kind of in the back and underneath, and you're going to tie your knot. Probably could use two, but I'm just going to do one for the video, and then you're just going to bring it in. Try and make sure you go out the back somewhere. And then give that a cut. Alrighty, now let's see. Alright, now we're gonna bring the eyes in a little bit. So grab your skin color. And we are going to start by going down in the center somewhere between the eyes. And you're going to come up kind of where, so your eye post went in right here. So you're going to come up in there. If you painted your eye, be careful not to scratch it. You're going to leave some string on this side for tying. You're going to go around the eye. You want to get underneath of it, and then you're going to go, so you went in here, you're going to go one stitch, one row down, or two. I'm going to go two since my eyes are big. And then I'm going to go over to the other side in the same spot. Remember which row you're in. So I'm right across. You're going to wrap around the second eye. And then you're going to go back in that first row where you started, and you're going to come up where your string first went in. Now you're going to give those two a tie, and I apologize if my hands get in the way. I'm trying my best here. So you can see. Now you're going to pull these together and kind of push them down with your fingers at the same time. What you ideally want to do is have them kind of flat forward and a little bit of a poof here where you're going to put the nose. But just be careful not to bring them too close so he looks cross-eyed. And once you're happy with where they are, you're just going to give them a couple ties. And then we'll thread those back on. And when I did mine, I wasn't sure if I was happy with how the mouth was staying so wide open. So I went down inside where those strings came out, around this piece, and then I come out under the chin. In the center, as close to center as you could get, with just one string. But I'm gonna, oh no, let's do two, and then we'll just fix it at the bottom here. Then we don't have to do that part twice. So pull your strings out, and we're just gonna move one string over to the other hole. So I'm going to go in that same hole, and I'm going to come out on the other side so that I can knot that, and I can bring this down if I want. I'm going to have to play with it a little bit. I think that was just because I thought my eyes were too high to begin with. And I know he looks a little funny, but that's all about playing with the stuffing later on. So if you want to give that a pull, we'll tie that nice and tight. Just be careful how much you bring it down. See, now it's the sea creature vibes. But it's not the first time I've made something and it looked like a million things before I got all the details on. Just kind of got to trust the process, I guess is what you'd say. Now you're just going to bring that in and out the back somewhere. And you don't have to do this step, it's just if you want to bring your eyes down a bit. You can't even tell I did that when you look at the other one now. There we go. Alright, now we're going to be doing this little top lip, so grab your skin color, leave yourself a bit of a tail. We're going to be attaching it, so if you have a way you prefer, do your way. I'll be making my knot with the loop on the end, so I wrap my yarn around my finger, bring the loop down, around and through, pinch that little loop, and then I slide the knot up so that my loop is just a little bit bigger than my hook. Now you're just going to go into the first front loop there, and you just do it however you're comfortable, whichever side makes it so that the top of your single crochet is showing on the front side. You're going to insert your hook into that loop, pull it through, try and leave the knot on the inside, and you're going to chain 1. Now starting in that same loop, we're going to do 15 single crochets to the other side. So 1, just take your time in the next front loop, that's 2, next front loop, that's 3, next front loop, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and our last one, 15. Then you're just going to slip stitch in that last stitch and tie off, leaving a little bit of a tail. And then it should look like this. Now you're going to grab your darning needle, and I cannot remember what I did with these ends, but I'm sure I brought them down here and tied them, so you don't want to get in the black. You just want to come down here somewhere. Let's see, I know I came down, that's all I know. I just don't want this flipping out like that. I'm just going in right where I started. Now come out where my other one was. And you can pull them in a bit, like you did with the arms and the eyes. But be careful that you're not pushing this mouth in a weird way. And then you're just going to thread your ends in. Go downward. You brought those ends out, and then just out the back somewhere. Give it a cut. I guess we might as well do the nose while we're doing all the skin color. So grab yourself a fair-sized chunk of your skin color. And thread that on. And I went, I believe, about 2 rows from where we put our eye posts in. So our eye posts are in this row. Right, 1, 2, and then my nose is on this row. There's not a lot of space here. So I'm going to start by going just 1 row down. This is my center stitch, and I'm going to go around that stitch over to this hole. So I'm basically using 3 holes. Ones I'm going in and out of, and then the one in the middle. So leave yourself some string for tying. And I'm just going to go around and around like this. Till my nose is as full as I want it. So it'd probably be at least 5 or 6 times. I feel like this is smaller than before, but it can be small. Just keep going around and around. Try and keep the same amount of tension when you pull, because if you get a big puff of a nose and then your next one you pull really tight, it's going to make your nose look funny. So I think I'm going to go around a couple more times. I think this is my last one, so I'm going to go around the last time, then I'm going to come in and out where I started. So this is where I'm making my nose, and then this is where I came in to start my nose. That's one arm. You just want to help out, don't you? But you're not. And then we're going to tie that very loosely because we don't want to pull our nose loops tight anywhere. So loose and then slowly tighten as you tie a few more knots. That's actually pretty good, but I'm going to do one more. And then we will thread those ends back on. And then we're going to go back out that same place and out the back somewhere. Now when you pull this one, you might want to watch because you don't want to pull your nose string. So as soon as you get that knot through, you're going to stop. Oh, my ends weren't quite long enough. There we go. And you want to gently pull these out. you just have to fix that right there. If you did pull your nose, put your needle in there and just give it a little bit of a swish around. You may be able to fix it. And then you're going to cut these, but don't pull on them. And if you end up with an end out like that, you're just going to take your needle, go over a few stitches, and then just swish by, and that'll pull that inside. There, now he's starting to look a little more like a person and not a monster with that little nose. If you're going to give him some eyebrows, let's do that now. I'm making mine black, so just grab a scrap of yarn if you have it. Oh, I actually have a scrap. Let's use that. Or cut it off your ball. And I went 2 rows up from my eyeballs. So this will be our first row right here. So 1, 2, and I went just kind of on the inside. So this would be kind of even with the eye, and I went 1 row back. So I'm just a bit on the inside of the eye, and you want to match that on the other side. Now I want to have a string, don't know what that was, string on both sides. And now you can just kind of play with them and see where you want them. Maybe you want like a sad little dopey one, maybe you want a mad one, but you might want to have you might want those strings starting closer down, just a little blah. I always go usually 1 row down, so that's what I'm going to do. So starting in the hole that I came out of, I'm going to count 4 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to go down 1 row. And I'm just going to bring that out in the center of where my eyebrows are, and kind of reach down and grab some of your stitching as you come up so you don't see this black anywhere. I don't think I'm in a hole. Make sure you're in a hole so that you can pull it through. Well, that was one of those funny stitches where I got an extra slice of yarn, I think. And then we'll do that on the other side. So thread your other string. And you're going to do the exact same thing, starting in your first hole where your string came out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1 row down. And then you're going to grab some stuffing, and then you're going to come up in that same spot. And when you're pulling this through, be careful not to pull on your eyebrows. Now, usually mine, one is a little bit longer than the other, and you can kind of fix that. Do I have the right one? I can't tell. By pulling it a little tighter than the other. Now it seems a little smaller. And once you're happy with them, you're just going to tie them together loosely. And then a little bit tighter, just like you did the nose. And then we'll hide them down in the back. Make sure. This one again, you're going to have to make sure that you're not pulling that, so just watch, pull the knot through, and then I'm just going to pull those stitches back out. If you're using a plastic hook, be careful because it can break easily doing that. Give that a cut without pulling, and just like we did the other piece, you'll just put your needle in And you're just going to sweep by it and pull it through. All right, let's make the ears now, and you're just going to give yourself a bit of a tail for attaching them. And you're going to make your knot with the loop on the end. You're just going to wrap it around your finger. Bring that loop down, around, and through. Pinch the top. Then you're just going to slide that knot up, and you want to make your loop just a little bit bigger than your hook. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up, chain 1, and remember that does not count as a stitch. That just attaches your yarn to your loop, and we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop, but we're not going over top of the tail. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're just going to tie that off, and I leave another tail on the other side. And now let's just make another one. So leave your tail, make your loop, insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up and chain 1, and now we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop, but not over top of our tail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then tie off, leaving a tail. And now before we attach, we're just going to do something with this side of the tail. So our starting tail is good where it is, but depending on which side you want your ears on, we got to move this tail around. So I want both my ears to be facing the right way with the little V's pointing towards me. If you like the other way, make sure they're both the same. Sides facing you. So we're going to take our finishing tail, and whichever way you have facing you, you're going to go in the front and just around that first stitch, just so both our tails, whoops, shouldn't have done it that way, just so both our tails are coming kind of out the back. So the other one, make sure it's facing the way you want it. Then you're just going to bring that through the front and out the back of the first stitch. And now they're ready to attach. Okay, now we're going to sew the ears on. So I'm going to grab a pin and mark them. And I usually start at the hole from the top outside of the eye. I'm going to count over 5 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to go in that 5th hole. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in that 5th hole. And then just have a look. That's going to be the top of your ears. So if you like where they are, you're going to grab your ear, make sure the side you want is facing you, and you're going to grab the top string, thread that on. Then you're going to come behind that pin, around that stitch, and out. We can get rid of that pin now. And now you're going to go through that first stitch of the ear. Sorry, I can't reach good here. And then you're going to go one row down around the stitch, out through the center hole of your ear. And then you're going to go one more row down again around that stitch. Whoops. And then through the bottom stitch of the ear. Then you're just going to tie your two tails together. Thread on your other end. And then you're going to go down nice and close to the ear, sorry. Then you're going to come out the back, center somewhere kind of even with your ear. So I'm about the middle of my ear, coming out the center. And we're just going to leave that for now. We're going to do the same thing we did with the arms when we do the ears. So now we'll do the other one. Where is it? There it is. So again, make sure you have the right side facing you that you want to see. Thread on the top string of the ear. And you're going to go down behind that pin, oops, yep, around the stitch. And you're coming out the same place that your pin was in. Then you're going to go through that first stitch of the ear. Sorry, my string's so short. I should have made it a little bit longer, I guess. Then you're going to go down one row around that stitch. Through the ear hole. Down one row again. Around that stitch. And then through the bottom of your ear. And now we'll tie the two strings together like we did on the other one. Thread on that second end. Go down as close to the ear as you can. And then you're going to come out the same spot that your other strings came out. Now you're going to have to keep track of which side is which here. You're going to give them one tie. I'm going to turn mine upside down here. And then now you can flip them over and just kind of watch. You may not want to pull them at all, or you may want to pull them quite a bit. Depends what shape you want your head to be. And I'm just going to pull them and maybe push the head a bit. That's probably pretty good. That's in there pretty good. And then you're just going to tie them to secure them. Then you want to get all those ends back on. Then you're going to thread them back in that hole and somewhere out the back. brave with this plastic needle here. I should probably switch. And you're going to cut those ends. Now we're going to do the teeth, and I didn't play with the teeth much. I made one and I thought that was good enough. So if you have a better way to do a tooth, you go ahead and do it that way. Just remember you want to keep them a bit on the smaller side. So I'm going to leave a bit of a tail. I'm going to make my knot with the loop on the end. And we are going to be chaining, so keep that in mind when you make your little loop. And I'm just going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now I am going to go down in my very first chain, and I'm just going to single crochet. And then I'm going to pull that and leave a tail for attaching. If you want to make a little pointy teeth, you could do a slip stitch and then a single crochet. But I wanted mine to try and look a bit square. So, and I made 3 of those. I'm only going to make 1 on camera. You can make as many as you want, and then I'm going to attach 1, and you can continue to add as many teeth after that. All right, to attach your little teeth, decide which side you want the front to be and which side you want the back to be. And I'm just going to grab one side. I'm going to grab the side that's going to go on the inside, it's kind of center of the mouth. And I'm just going to go kind of even with the nose. And I'm just going to go in 1 stitch and come down. Oh, you cannot see this. So I'm just going down and around a row, 1 row, and over to the next hole. Then I'm going to thread on my other end. I do want to pull that knot through. And I'm going to go in the stitch. Oh, I'll pull it out so you can see. So I'm in that hole with one side. I'm in this next hole over with the other side, and I'm going to come out where I came out originally. So I have 1 stitch in between my 2 tails. Then I'm going to tie that. I'm just doing it 1 time. Actually, let's do it 2. Okay, then we will put our other end on, and we're just going to go in that same hole that we came out, and then just take that out anywhere behind your mouth. Just make sure you don't catch the inside of your mouth. You don't want to have a little white streak there. Another cool thing I thought, maybe not for this guy, but if I do another one, if you went back and forth, up and down, it's kind of like it's sewn shut. That'd be a cute little, I pull that tooth out. So it's where you want it, and then you can cut your string. And I'll let you come back and add your teeth later on, or if you want to pause it and need a break and want to do it now. I'm just going to put the 1 tooth on camera. All right, and now we're going to do the little black hairs. And if you're like me, you probably have a million little scrap pieces of black from doing mouth and eyebrows and ends. So what we're going to do, let's take a shorter one. What we want to do is separate these. If you have embroidery floss, that'll work too, but these ones will have a little twist in them that makes them a little bit cooler. So I'm just separating them where they naturally come apart. So I think I did 2 strands, but I can't remember if I used 6 or 8 pieces. You can use as many or as little as you want. So once you've got your little strands, You're gonna grab your hook, and I did use a smaller hook to make it easier, so if you have one handy beside you, grab a smaller hook. And I just started, so I'm gonna go like in the center, and then I'm gonna go kind of over to the side, one or two in the back, just randomly anywhere. And all I'm gonna do is insert my hook. I'm gonna wrap that hair around my hook, and I'm going to pull it through just enough to get access to that loop that I made, and then I'm going to grab those end strings and I'm going to pull them through that loop. And there's my one little hair. And then I trimmed them probably, what would that be, 1.5 centimeters, half an inch. Just remember, if you're like me and you cut too much, cut it a little long at first. And then if you need to, you can always cut it a little shorter. And see, I actually like that length. So I think I'm going to leave it there. And then you're just going to do more all the way around. And I'll just show you this one. Actually, maybe it looks better down here. So see, how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I did 2 by the ears, I think. And maybe these, I don't know. I got a ton of them anyway. All right, so I'm going to do the rest of my hairs off camera, and then we will move on to, I believe, the vest, which is last. All right, now we're going to do the vest, and we will have to make the knot with the loop on the end, or if you can do a slip knot, that would work perfect here too. So we want our loop to be just big enough to get our hook in, and we are going to chain 23. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Now starting in your second chain from the hook, so this is your first one, this is your second one, we're going to do 22 single crochets across, and make sure that your chain does not twist on you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 2, we're going to do 2 single crochets across, so starting in this first hole right here, 1, 2, and then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to skip 5 stitches. So there's our last stitch right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to go in that 6th hole, and we're going to do 8 single crochets across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to skip 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and in that 6th one we're going to do 2 single crochets across. So 1, and then 1, or 2, I guess, stitch number 2. So it's going to look like this, and then we're going to do a chain 1 and turn. 3, we're going to do half double crochets, and it'll be half double crochet for the rest of the vest. And if you've never done a half double crochet, they're the same as a single, only you yarn over first. So yarn over into that first stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and go through 3 loops on your hook. So we're doing an increase, so we need 1 more in that same stitch. Yarn over into that same stitch, grab your yarn and pull up, grab your yarn and pull through the 3 loops. And then we have 1 half double crochet in the next stitch. And then we're going to do 5 half double crochets around this chain. So you're just going in that hole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me. And then we're going to do 8 half double crochets across. So we're going to start in this first hole right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we're going to do 5 half double crochets around this chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in this next stitch 1 half double crochet, and then in this last stitch 1 half double crochet increase. So 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Chain 1 and turn. Row 4, we're going to start with 1 half double crochet increase. So 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Then we're going to do 22 half double crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then in this last stitch, 1 half double crochet increase. 1 and 2, and you may have to dig for that one. Usually that last one is a little tricky, and then you're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 5, we are going to start off with a half double crochet increase. So that's 1 and 2 in the same stitch. And then we are going to do 24 half double crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then get down in that last stitch, and we're going to do 1 half double crochet increase. So that's 1 and 2 in the same stitch, chain 1 and turn. All right, row 6, we are going to do a 1 half double crochet increase. So that's 1 and 2 in the same stitch. And then we're going to do 26 half double crochets across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and in that last stitch, 1/2 double crochet, increase, so that's 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Now we're going to do a single crochet border, and generally I do everything as easy as I can. I try not to cut my yarn any more than I have to, but this time I am going to cut my yarn, and I'm going to start down in the back so you can't see it. Now, you don't have to. You can go around now if you want, but I just want to have the corners match up, so I'm just going to tie off now. Actually, we don't need a very long string. We're going to go over top of it. Then I'm just going to make myself a knot with the loop on the end for attaching my yarn. Just kind of decide which side you want your outside to be. So I think I want this to be my outside. So I'm going to have that facing me, and just somewhere in the middle, I'm just going to insert my hook. Oop. I'm going to attach my little loop, pull it through. Generally I try not to bring the knot through, and then I'm just going to chain 1. And now we're just going to single crochet all the way around, and when we get to the corners, I might put 2 in the bottoms, but I'm not putting 2 in the top. I'm just going to go 1 so we don't have a point right here at the shoulders. Okay, so starting in that same stitch, and we're going over top of this little piece of tail, single crochet, and then just continue around. I'm not going to count them just in case we're all in the same, in a different spot, but you're just going to go in every stitch. And if you wanted it to be a little bigger, I suppose you could do 1/2 double crochets around. You may have to adjust in the corners. So we're just going around this corner now. So I'm going to put 1 in the bottom. Maybe I will put 2. I'm going to turn it, put another one in. Usually you put 3 in the corner. So I'm putting 2 in the bottom corner, and then I'm just going to try and go up. Try and catch every hole. I'm probably putting about 2 stitches in each set of 1/2 double crochets. 2 or 3. Just where they seem like they fit evenly across. Then when I get to that top corner, I'm only going to do 1. And now I'm catching my tail. You may not have your tail till the other side. And now I'm just going to go across the top. And I guess on a lot of these Halloweens, I haven't had much sewing to do without explaining. I haven't really mentioned about if you want to share anything with me. Down in the description, I have my Facebook craft page link, and you can go over to that page. You don't have to join or anything, and you find a post, and you can put a photo or a message in the comments. I do have a TikTok and an Instagram link, but I can go 6 months without even going on there, and I really don't go through notifications because they are still a bit confusing to me. They're like, it seem like they're in 3 places, and I'm like, well, didn't I just see that? No, I didn't. So if you have ever tagged me in an Instagram or a TikTok post and I haven't said anything, That is why. It's because I just have not seen it. Because I do try and comment on everything unless it's a request. And if it's a request, I just leave it there so I don't lose it. And then if I ever make that thing, I will put the link to that video in that comment. So I just went around this other side, only putting one in the top corner. And I'm coming down the other side. And I put 2 in the other corner, so I'm going to put 2 in this corner as I turn. Now I'm just going to go across the bottom till I meet up with where I started. I did something wrong in that one. Alright, so I'm back to where I attached my yarn. So I'm just going to go over into my first stitch. I'm just going to do a slip stitch and then I'm going to tie that off. And you will need to weave this end in now. So give yourself enough of a tail to do that. And if you remember, I chose this as my outside that you're going to see. So you want to flip it around and you want to sew it in on the inside. I mean, not that it really matters for this guy, because what we're going to do next is just going to rough it up anyways. So if this is your first time ever making something like this, this is the perfect one to mess up and practice on. So you're just going to weave in and out on, I just go on the first row here. I'm just catching those top side of the stitches here. I probably went a little further than I needed to if I wanted it even. And I'm just going to go back in. Make sure you go around a stitch there, or else you're just going to pull it right back out. Usually I would go past my knot and then go back and forth, but since it's the zombie one, and I already went a little far, I'm just going to go back and forth on this one side. So that's probably enough. You can go as many times as you want. And now we're going to rough him up by giving him some little frays. So in the same color, I would assume, although you guys do some very interesting things with colors that come out really cool. But I'm going to use the same color. All you're going to do is, let's take this one off so you can see. Just like we did the hair, I'm just putting it around. I didn't even count. I did like the corners, the middle, and then I did 2 in between. I did 2 up the front. And then I think I did 4 on the sleeves, 3 across the top, and 1 on the bottom. And you're probably not going to see the bottom one anyway, so you can just kind of choose where you want to do it. So I'll show you how to do one, but I think you already know what you're doing. So I'm going to just do a back, oh no, let's do a corner. So just anywhere in the corner, no specific places. And you could also do it on the vest. When I did my, I think Jason, I did it everywhere on the vest. So you're going to just pull that And then I cut mine fairly short. So don't pull it, but just give it a cut. And then if you need to, you can always cut it a little longer. And that'll just flip around. All right, so I'm going to leave you to finish putting those little frays on. And I think I'm ready to say goodbye. I'll just put these on and I'll come back. Alrighty, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and click that bell. Not only does that help me out, but you will also be notified every time I load a new video, as well as any likes, shares, and comments are always appreciated. And a huge thank you to all my super thanks friends listed at the end of this video. And as always, take care, be safe, and happy crocheting.